Did you know that 87% of English learners make the same 10 mistakes every single day without even realizing it? And here's the shocking part. These aren't grammar rules from textbooks. These are mistakes that make native speakers instantly recognize you as a non-native speaker, no matter how advanced your vocabulary is. I discovered this after analyzing thousands of conversations between English learners and native speakers. And what I found will completely change how you approach speaking English. In the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal these 10 critical mistakes that are sabotaging your fluency right now, and more importantly, I'll show you exactly how to fix them today. By the end of this video, you'll sound more natural than English learners who have been studying for years. Subscribe now because this might be the most important English lesson you'll ever watch. The first mistake is so common that even advanced speakers make it daily, and it involves a word you probably use in every conversation. Most English learners say, "I am agree," instead of "I agree." This happens because in many languages, you need the verb to be before agree, but English doesn't work that way. Native speakers never say, "I am agree." They simply say, "I agree," "I disagree," or "I don't agree." Here's the pattern. With opinion verbs like agree, disagree, think, believe, and understand, you never use is, or are. Instead of "I am thinking," say "I think." Instead of "she is agreeing," say "she agrees." Practice this right now. I agree with your point. I disagree with that idea. I think you're right. This single change will make your English sound incredibly more natural. Click the bell icon so you never miss these game-changing tips that transform your English overnight. The second mistake involves a phrase that literally every English learner gets wrong, and it's destroying your credibility in professional settings. You've probably said, "How do you call this?" when you want to know the name of something. Native speakers never say this. The correct phrase is, "What do you call this?" or "What is this called?" The confusion happens because many languages use how for this question, but English uses what. Think of it this way. How is for methods and processes, while what is for names and things. Instead of, "How do you call your boss?" say, "What do you call your boss?" Instead of, "How do you call this feeling?" say, "What do you call this feeling?" Master this pattern and you'll instantly sound more professional in meetings, interviews, and casual conversations. Subscribe to learn more mistakes that are secretly holding back your English progress every single day. Here's mistake number 3, and it's probably the most embarrassing one because it happens in the most basic conversations. English learners constantly say, "I have 25 years," when talking about their age. This literally translates to having 25 physical years in your possession, like having 25 books or 25 cars. Native speakers always say, "I am 25 years old," or simply, "I'm 25. The verb to be is essential when talking about age, height, and personal characteristics. You don't have an age. You are an age. Practice these corrections. I am 30 years old. My sister is 18. How old are you? Not how many years do you have? This mistake makes you sound like a beginner even if your vocabulary is advanced. The pattern is simple. For age, always use to, never to have. Share this video with someone who needs to stop making this mistake immediately. The fourth mistake will shock you because it involves one of the most basic words in English. Yet 90% of learners get it wrong in specific situations. When describing your job, you probably say, "I am teacher," or "she is doctor." Native speakers never drop the article a before professions. The correct way is, "I am a teacher. She is a doctor. He is an engineer." The only exceptions are when you're talking about unique positions like, "I am president of the company," or when using adjectives like, "I am senior manager." But for regular professions, always include a or an. Listen to this pattern. I am a student. My brother is a chef. She wants to become a lawyer. This tiny word makes a massive difference in how natural you sound. Native speakers notice when you drop it, and it immediately signals that English isn't your first language. Hit subscribe to discover more subtle mistakes that are keeping you from sounding fluent. Mistake number 5 involves a word that you use constantly, and getting it wrong makes every sentence sound awkward. Most English learners say, I am interested in music, instead of, I am interested in music. The difference between interesting and interested confuses millions of learners worldwide. Here's the key. Interesting describes something that creates interest, while interested describes someone who feels interest. You are interested in things that are interesting to you. A boring person cannot be interesting in movies. They can only be interested in movies that are interesting. Practice this pattern. I am interested in learning English. This book is interesting. She is interested in photography. Photography is interesting to her. Master this distinction and you'll eliminate one of the most common mistakes that makes native speakers cringe. Ring that notification bell so you don't miss tomorrow's lesson on advanced speaking patterns. The 6th mistake happens every time English learners talk about their experiences, and it's costing you credibility in job interviews and social situations. You've definitely said, I have been in London when you mean you visited London in the past. Native speakers use I have been to London for places they visited and returned from. And I have been in London only when they're currently there or were living there for an extended period. The preposition makes all the difference. I have been to Paris means you visited Paris and came back. I have been in Paris means you were staying in Paris for a while. Use to for visits and trips. Use in for extended stays or current location. Correct examples. I have been to Japan twice. I have been to that restaurant before. Have you ever been to New York? This small change will make your travel stories sound natural and impressive. Subscribe now to learn more preposition secrets that native speakers take for granted. Here's mistake number 7. And it happens every single time English learners try to sound polite. But they actually sound rude instead. When asking for something, you probably say, I want coffee or I want to go home. While grammatically correct, this sounds demanding and childish to native speakers. Instead, use I would like coffee or I'd like to go home. The phrase I want sounds direct and sometimes rude, especially in formal situations. Native speakers soften their requests with would like, could I have, or may I get. I want a sandwich versus I'd like a sandwich versus I'd like to speak to the manager. The second option sounds polite and mature. In restaurants, shops, and professional settings, always use I'd like instead of I want. This single change will make people perceive you as more polite and sophisticated. Click subscribe to learn more politeness patterns that will transform how people respond to you. Mistake number 8 is destroying your grammar credibility, and it involves a word that appears in almost every sentence you speak. English learners constantly confuse since and for when talking about time. You probably say, I have been studying English since 3 years, instead of, I have been studying English for 3 years. Here's the rule that will change everything. Use since with specific starting points in time, and use for with periods or durations of time. Since's, when did it start? And for answers, how long has it continued? Examples. I have lived here since 2020, specific year. I have lived here for 5 years, duration. She has been working since Monday, specific day. She has been working for 3 days, duration. Practice right now. I have been learning English for 2 years. I have been learning English since 2022. Master this distinction and your time expressions will sound perfectly natural. Share this video to help other learners avoid this embarrassing mistake. The ninth mistake makes you sound uncertain and unconfident, even when you're absolutely sure about something. English learners often say, "I think I am right," when they mean, "I think I'm right." But more importantly, they use "I think" too much when they should be direct. Native speakers don't say, "I think the weather is hot today." They say, "The weather is hot today," because it's an obvious fact. Reserve "I think" for actual opinions, not obvious statements. Instead of "I think this restaurant is expensive," when looking at clearly high prices, say "This restaurant is expensive." Instead of "I think I am hungry," say "I'm hungry." Use "I think" for uncertain opinions. "I think this movie will be good," or "I think it might rain tomorrow." Being direct doesn't sound rude in English. It sounds confident and clear. Stop weakening your statements with unnecessary "I think" phrases, and watch how much more authoritative you sound. Subscribe to learn more confidence-building speaking patterns that successful English speakers use daily. The final mistake is the most subtle, but it's what separates intermediate speakers from advanced speakers. And most English learners never learn this secret. You probably say "thank you very much" in every situation, thinking it's more polite than "thank you." While not wrong, native speakers vary their gratitude expressions based on the situation's formality and the favor's significance. For small everyday favors, native speakers often say "thanks," "thank you," or "I appreciate it." For bigger favors, they might say, "Thank you so much," "I really appreciate it," or "That means a lot." For professional situations, "I appreciate your help," or "Thank you for your assistance," sounds more sophisticated than "Thank you very much." The key is matching your gratitude level to the situation. Getting a pen, "Thanks." Getting a job recommendation, "I really appreciate this." Someone holds the door, "Thank you." Someone helps you move apartments, "Thank you so much." This means everything. This natural variation is what makes native speakers sound effortless and appropriate in every context. Now that you know these 10 critical mistakes, you have the power to transform your English overnight. But here's what most people don't realize: knowing about mistakes isn't enough. You need to catch yourself making them and actively correct them in real conversations. Start with mistake number 1 today. Stop saying "I agree" and simply say "I agree." Tomorrow, focus on mistake number 2. Replace "How do you call this?" with "What do you call this?" By next week, you'll be avoiding all 10 mistakes naturally, and people will start asking you how your English improved so dramatically. Remember, fluency isn't about knowing every grammar rule. It's about avoiding the mistakes that make you sound like a learner. Subscribe now and hit the notification bell because next week, I'm revealing the 5 phrases that make native speakers think you're fluent, even if you make other mistakes. Share this video with every English learner you know because these 10 mistakes are holding back millions of people from the confident, natural English they deserve. Your English journey starts now. Stop making these mistakes and start sounding like the fluent speaker you're meant to be.